Anyway, someone was asking, just now somebody was asking about these cleanup tags and other tags that I have, and I was just saying that there are ways that I use to mark what's in the program, and just for kicks, I searched through here, and there's 299 of them of just cleanup, and there's other ones that say refactor and whatever, and it's not quite 299 different sites, but there's probably at least 250 or 270, because sometimes I paste things multiple times when I want them to be more eye-catching. And it's just a way to mark things that I can work on later. So, you know, if I come up someday and I don't have any super pressing things that I need to do, and I just generally want to make the code easier to deal with, then you know I know very easily where to go because I've tagged these things all along. Now the thing is that most code has uglinesses and nastinesses like this. It's just people don't like to admit it or think about them, so they sweep it under the rug, right? But it's way better not to sweep it under the rug. You tag all those places where things are not ideal, right? And even if I never fix all of these, at least anyone else, you know, who comes to the code and wants to work on it, like knows, oh, you know, the person who wrote this thought that right here things should be better than they are. Let me look at that and see if I can make them better. So it's very useful, I think. It's very, you know, the nature of code is that it's very hard to make it perfect. And so, but because our job is to always make it better, then the more clearly we admit where it's not perfect, the better we're doing our job, and the more clearly we'll be able to drag it toward perfection in the future. So that's what that's all about. Okay, so let's talk about what we're doing today. Yesterday was Superstream Sunday, and we got a lot of work done, but a couple of inconvenient things kept coming up and required me to do some low-quality code pasting, right? So we had this concatenate routine, and we had to make several versions of this. I'll go search for those right now. We called them concatenate with, and, you know, oh geez, we've got, some of these are probably calls. But you know, serialize had one, so is that still in? Yeah. So we made this thing, oh, it's not in there. Let's look for the actual declaration. Main. Okay, so we've got this concatenate with spaces, and we've got actually two copies of that because one is local to file utilities. And we've got one called concatenate with new lines, and they're all basically the same. And I didn't, you know, obviously, well, not obviously anything. These are all minor versions of this routine, or, you know, these are actually front ends, so they're slow because they're an extra layer of abstraction that generates data. But the whole point is just to provide versions of this routine that do slightly different things. And the reason that we had to do that is because you can't have arguments after a varargs argument right now. So this is varargs. It says if I'm passing some strings to this routine, they'll just get piled together into an array called inputs, right? So that's fine. But you know, if we want to say, hey, put a certain string in between, right? Or we want to provide a Boolean about whether they go just between all the members or after everyone. Like if it's a semicolon for the end of the line, you might want to put it even after the last guy. But if it's a space, maybe you want it in the middle. So you maybe want some stuff like between string is maybe nothing, but maybe you can specify that something, and between string goes after the last line too, right? So you can't do this right now. It doesn't let you because it's just the way that I implemented varargs in the language semantics, I assumed that it would never make sense to have anything after this. But of course, it does. And there are times when you want to. And so I knew during Superstream Sunday that I was going to do this eventually. So I just did these ugly front ends onto this. But today, I decided to sit down and start making these changes to procedure calling. The procedure calling code was pretty old. I felt, it probably dates back at least a few years, or maybe it was even dating back to the earliest compiler code. I'm not sure. I might have rewritten varargs once or twice since then, but in any case, it was more complicated than it needed to be. And so I felt like it was a good time to both clean up basic procedure calling and to extend the functionality of varargs to let you pass arguments after them. You could even imagine later that you might allow more than one varargs array in an argument list. We're not going to do that today, but that's not a ridiculous thing to think about for the future. I just don't have solid use cases yet when I definitely want to do that. So I started doing that today during work hours, and only for like an hour and a half or something. I've been ripping up the basic procedure calling mechanism. I'm not done fixing all the compile errors. And then once I fix all the compile errors, it probably won't work. Like probably no programs will run correctly or even compile correctly because, when you mess with something basic like that, things are going to break. So my hope is to at least get it all compiling and hopefully get it all running, and then we'll have this nice new feature. So we'll see how that goes. Why is 1001 spikes not on Switch yet? I don't know. Ask Tyrone. Ask him, because I think people would appreciate that game. All right. So let me pick up where I left off. I was cleaning up compile errors. I had added this thing. This is not too important, but the way that I'm implementing varargs now, I just added this varargs info that contains information about which way we're trying to do varargs. So you could be spreading an array that already exists, or you could be passing arguments that have to be coalesced into an array. And this just gets put together during type checking and then passed to various places. Now the thing is, there are many sites in the program where this may need to be passed. So I'm still passing it around to all those places, and in the places where it's needed, then I need to use it. I need to convert the old code to use the new thing. So now I guess there's this thing called type check arguments helper, and I passed it here, but the declaration of type check arguments helper doesn't take this argument yet. So let's make that happen. What line was that? 1638. Any questions about what I'm doing? That'll help people understand what's going on. So because this is C++, I have to do this twice because C++ is very sad. Okay, here it is. Oh, I put varargs info here. I just didn't put it here. This looks old, though, I think. Maybe not. I have to review this. I have to review anything in this routine that uses varargs to see if it makes sense. You almost never use varargs in your C++ programs. What do you actually use it for? Varargs is actually very useful. I almost never use it in C or C++ either, but that's because it's so inconvenient and annoying in those languages, right? In a programming language where you're doing higher level operations, you often want varargs. So, for example, I mean, they're still stupid and annoying, but C++ has variadic template parameters, right? And they use those actually quite heavily because they're really useful when you're doing high level things. So, you know, I mean, for example, during Superstream Sunday, I wanted to use that concatenate routine at least twice, and that's a varargs routine, and that was just in one day of programming. So hopefully that's a good example. Is this similar to destructuring? I don't know what you mean by destructuring. Do you mean just taking a structure and turning it into arguments? It's like the opposite of that. It's taking arguments and turning them into an array. It's funny, people use random terms from some programming language and expect me to use them or to understand the question. The thing you have to realize is there aren't that many standard terms for things in languages, because something that means one thing in one language community means at least a subtly different thing elsewhere, and often a completely different thing elsewhere, right? So if you ask a C++ person about a vector, you're going to get a totally different answer than if you ask, you know, a math person about a vector, and the math person's right and the C++ person is wrong, but let's ignore that for now. Yeah. Okay. So well, we're looking at type check arguments helper. If it contains varargs, we get the element type because we're going to type check that. I suppose we should just do that here instead of in this loop. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it'll be. Okay. So one of the things that I was unhappy with was how the varargs was messing with the regular procedure call loop and making it more complicated. And I think now I can deal with most vararg stuff up here. Maybe not. But it'll at least all fit in one if block. The question is just... Oh yeah, there's polymorphism happening, people. Okay, I hadn't thought about the polymorphism case. This may be more annoying because you have to present the data in such a way that all right. Let's just try to do this in the new way. Let's just try to do this in the new way. So we're going to say this thing called arg has whatever the current argument is, and we're doing this in a different way. We're not using this argument. Last argument is spread flag because it's not restricted to the last argument anymore. But we do have so this is when we weren't doing spread. So what was it called? It was called spread array expression. So that's if we have a pre-existing array. But I mean, I don't know what to do here. It's confusing. Let me look at the polymorphism code to figure out what we need to do. Look at all that. Okay, what are we doing here? If it's a polymorphic procedure argument that isn't being dealt with already, set up polymorphism. So we start variable matching. We call check that types match. On this switchable expression, oh, that's not good. Okay. We can kind of do a hack to make this work. So we're using, the thing is we need to use the varargs argument to solve for polymorph variables. Yeah. Okay, here's what we'll do. We'll, instead of hacking it, we'll do the following. We'll say if, do we have this index I? Yeah, so if I is equal to varargs argument index, so if we're doing the vararg, and if not that. So if we're not doing a spread, if we are doing a spread, then we just treat it like a regular argument because it's already an array. We're trying to compare it an array and so forth, right? But if it is a vararg and it's not a spread, we'll just use the first type in the vararg for now to solve for the polymorph variable. So we will use varargs, instead of type wanted, we'll do varargs element type. And instead of this, we'll do, because we can insert a cast here. Oh, no, we don't want that. Okay, we'll do the real cast later. If inserting a cast, we will insert the real cast later on. Decide on a polymorph. And are actually calling it in the meantime, we can throw away the cast, I think. Okay. We're going to make that equal to varargs info dot. Huh. Somebody may provide no arguments to a polymorphic procedure that wants arguments. If varargs info dot varargs arguments dot items is equal to 0, we need to report an error. At do we have call? We have site. Error at site, we'll say argument %d of this procedure is polymorphic and varargs, but no variable arguments were supplied, so no type can be deduced. Maybe we just, instead of saying that, maybe we just say the type is void, but we would need to make an expression of type void, which doesn't exist. We'll just do this for now. Okay. Return. I sure am doing this in a scattered way. So for example, this is in the wrong place. Like this goes here, because we only do that. And then the reason I'm doing that is so I can do this. Take the first argument and say and throw away here. So that'll just solve for the polymorph variable. Okay. Now, okay. Here, we say the following. Same thing. Same thing. If this, else this. If this, then for in j equals 0, j is less than. I probably should put this into something with a nicer name. Dot args arguments dot items I plus plus or j plus plus auto equals varargs info dot varargs arguments sub j type matching varargs element type. It might be called varargs argument type. We'll see if it complains. Inferred type. That's for inserting casts. If we don't match, then we break out of the loop so as not to spend too much CPU time or spam people with error messages. Well, okay. So then way back here, what was I doing here? This is, yeah, we don't need this. What is this? Oh, we forgot to check foreign. So for foreign procedures, aka we're calling into C or C++, the rules are different. Of course, those can't be polymorphic, so we only need this check down here. So we need to cast up to double if they're float. Apart from that, we just ignore things, which might not be quite correct, but whatever. Okay. Oh God, this is going to be annoying slightly. Okay. Float 64. All right, something like that. I don't know what I'm doing. I realize I have not been speaking very lucidly during this last thing. I'm trying to figure this out. Checking out the chat. Yeah, varargs in C and C++ are really annoying, and I don't ever really use them. Except when writing wrappers for printf, which is the one time you need to use them. All right. Well, those are simple. Let's hit those. Oops. Cannot convert argument 5 from... All right. I don't know what that's about. Oh, because it's through a const. We'll just do this. No. I don't usually use references for modifiable parameters in C++, but I'm going to try it out, see how I feel about it. It's a time to experiment with new things. Cannot convert argument 2 from... God. I already hate const. I already hate const. Okay. So this is probably a totally different thing. Let's look at other files. How many files? Oh, just type or it doesn't compile. Okay, I'm suspicious because ffi.cpp is going to be broken. It won't be handling varargs correctly. Warning, I'm streaming. So anything you say will be broadcast on the internet. Programming, which is like playing a game. My mic shut off. I'm hoping it's just that the battery was running out. Find out. No, it claims it had battery. Dude, I don't know. Computers. 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 Okay. So make polymorphic called procedure. Apparently doesn't take the varargs info or something. Let's see. 3151. Okay, we are giving it there. So after the args, we go try to make it const again. Maybe we don't need to modify it. Maybe we will. Okay, wait. I think I decided. Dude, I don't know. We've definitely got some varargs stuff here. It's old, it's checking for last argument is spread. Like why, so this is confusing me. Like I said, things are maybe too complicated, and I want to find more ways to simplify them. We just did a thing that was meant to solve for polymorph variables when type checking, and here's another thing. Maybe this is post type checking only? I think it's post type checking only. Except that you have to call check that types match to make the polymorph. There's redundant work happening here. And let me just... Yeah. All right. Okay, what were we just editing? What procedure was that? I remember we were setting... we were saying... Yeah. Type check arguments. Helper, that's what it was. So I'm going to say okay. So well, I guess we're going to need this. And so we'll get rid of this last argument is spread, and this did varargs check. We didn't need those. Okay, so what are we doing? We're putting these into the match solver, which is essentially what we did in type check arguments helper. So I don't frickin' know. Look, I don't frickin' know. I'm going to write down. So first I'm going to get the code working because we've already done a very major change. But I want to investigate why, writing this on a piece of paper, to check out this polymorph redundancy to figure out why we're doing something twice that seemingly is similar or possibly the same thing. I really honestly don't know. Oh, no, I do know. I do know. This is because the given arguments might be polymorphic. And this is for manufacturing the target procedure, which is only when the wanted arguments are polymorphic. But here we're matching for both. So it's like, why don't we just do that here? I don't know. Like, I need to see if I can unify them, but I do see why they're a little bit different. Could I do the witness cave challenge pretty easily? I did it in the giant bomb video on the first try, but almost didn't. All right. So, we basically need to do the same thing here. Hi, doggy. Oswin's getting ready to go home. He got his chicken dinner, yeah. He's a winner with his chicken dinner. Do you want to say hi to the stream audience? Not really, but come here. Come here, man. Oh. Say hello. Say hello. No, look at the camera. No, okay. He knows he's being looked at and doesn't like it. Okay. Okay. Here we go. All right. Yeah, so here I did the same strategies I did in the other place where, oh geez, I need this. That's fine. Oh, here's that same thing where I said, hey, what? Oh, right, they might have a modify proc. Okay, so this thing that I did, I was confused. This is for when the wanted argument is polymorphic, and if we're fitting that into a varargs, then it should be impossible for this to be 0, right? By definition, if we detected that there's a polymorphic argument, there must be at least one argument. So we're going to leave that assert in there. We'll see if we crash due to that. And for this, I think my decision here was right. If we're missing the declaration for this type, they could have a modify proc that supplies it, so we should not preemptively error. And if the modify proc doesn't supply it, then we'll error normally when we say, hey, there was no declaration for this variable. So go me on the day when I wrote this comment. That was good. Okay, solve for matches. Okay, so we just, it's value bakes. Okay. Where were we? We were here. Okay, so I need to get this inst. All right, type check arguments does not take 7 arguments. Okay. I'm not sure why it succeeded here, because I would have thought okay, well, see ya. I guess we need to bubble the varargs info up because we need it here. So 3440. Basically, anywhere this argument list is, we need a varargs info. Maybe at some point we want to clean it up into an arguments info, and it's got the sorted arguments and it's got the varargs. That would be a reasonable thing to do, not how I did it. So we're just dealing with that now. So this has a varargs info. And then this goes there. And I remember now, I put this on the procedure call, but I haven't ever set that. So let's keep it separate and just deal. So instead of declaring that, we pass it. So we call sort arguments, and it didn't. 3129. Cannot convert argument 5 from varargs info to. Okay, so I'm doing this. Okay, that's fine. All right. Oh, that's probably why I had it. Yeah. Right. There's a really annoying vacuuming noise happening in here or something. Okay, well, this is scaring me, but like it's just getting hairy, but that's what happens when you start with something hairy. We're going to make it less hairy by the time we're done. May not finish tonight, but we'll see. Type check arguments, 3452. Uh, 4776. Okay, well. Okay. Does not take 8 arguments. 8, 6, 6, 7. Sort call arguments. And all right. info. Okay, I think we got through that file. Doesn't mean it's right, it just means it compiles. All right, now polymorph.cpp. So we're obviously missing something. I guess we forgot to do it twice. Oops, what's in the wrong place? Oh no, we didn't. It's just const down there. And it's not const up here. It's C++. You have to do everything twice. And they better match. Oh, that's better. Did varargs check? All right, we'll do it fine. It's fine. Okay, this is wrong. It's a good thing. Okay. I almost missed that. It's no longer the last argument. Okay. Do this. We'll say if there's a spread expression. Oh no. No, that's fine, because we want it to go down below. Okay. So this is going to go up here. We're going to say if oh. You know what? We're just going to leave it. No, because I like that comment. That comment. Okay. We're just going to leave the comment. Because the if statement wasn't doing anything. Oh, wow. Now we're at a very scary point where I know this isn't going to work. 0% chance of working. Hey, look. It didn't work. But this gives us a very concrete thing to debug, and that is good. So I am going to heat up some more tea because my tea is gone. And then we'll start doing this. All right, back in a minute. We might have a little more action when I get back because we'll be debugging concrete things instead of doing sprawling changes. that noise? Not my computer. Okay. Compiler is telling us that we're spreading into a non-varargs argument, but it obviously is. So let's figure out why it thinks that. Wait, where is this? Well, that's weird. All right. Attempt to spread into a non-varargs argument. Sorted index is 0. Varargs sorted index is -1. Why? Because we... Okay, so the the idea that we need this varargs sorted index is wrong. Or, I mean, the idea that it's different from what we get up here, right? So we'll just get rid of that. We used to, the reason why this is such a big change is that the way we did procedure calls before, it kind of happened in a different way that had different assumptions that turned out to be unnecessary. So we're going to do that. Procedure call is missing arguments input. No, it isn't. But that's at least a different problem. Missing argument. I hate this new UI. That's... I hate it so bad. All right. Okay, argdecal identifier, argdecal expression. So we don't have a sorted. But we probably got a varargs info thing. We did. So did my headset just turn off again? It's terrible. It's terrible. I don't know why it keeps doing this. Well, it's theoretically not Bluetooth from the host PC. It's this thing has its own base station, which I don't know if it uses Bluetooth or something. It probably just uses Bluetooth, if I'm being honest. But I've never had this problem before. Maybe it just thinks I'm not saying anything and is timing out to preserve battery. I'm being too quiet. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so I think I can just say this. We want to if sorted index not equal varargs element index. Still says it. Really? That's interesting. Oh, we probably have -1. No? Sorted index 1. Oh, right. Wait, what? Args wanted 3. Really? That seems wrong. I thought args wanted was supposed to be based on the actual procedure. Did I accidentally check in that version that had the extra arguments? No. All right. Where's args wanted get set? Earlier than this. Declarations. That's passed in. Where do these declarations come from? Lambda argument declarations. Let's find out about this. Proc expression line number. Proc expression file name. Demo better arguments, that's no surprise. Line 3. Oh, right. Let's just... Okay, before we do anything fancy, I thought we weren't doing anything fancy yet. Before we do anything fancy, we just want regular old programs to still compile, right? Like that's the first bar to clear. Okay. Assert info name.count is less than 100 is missing args. So assert okay. So it's giving us defaults for these guys, but it's complaining about this one. Those are just so we could pass those to print. Okay. We okay. So let's just see. We already have a breakpoint there, right? Yeah. Okay. So, right. We only have one argument given. And this is wrong anyway. This should be I, not sorted index. I hate Visual Studio. It's recompiling the whole thing. All right. I just wanted to make that edit for later. No. All right, well, now we have a crash. Probably because we put a null in the argument list. Yep. It could be null if it's a varargs. What are we doing here? I can't stand typing in this editor because all those boxes of crap are flying around the screen. This program is just not made for people who can concentrate. It's made for people with short attention spans who have no idea what's going on. I really can't stand it. Okay, if args element index is equal to I, then if argument list sorted I is equal to null, continue. Well, what did it just do? I just typed a close paren and it teleported me to the other end of the continue. Visual Studio. People ask why I have to rebuild things, and it's like, isn't it obvious? All right. If spread, we are not allowed. Oh, if spread, it should already be in argument list sorted. Now, I may not have done that. So this assert might go off because I wasn't sure what the policy decision should be before, but I think it'll be simpler if we put it in argument list sorted at the right time. So the only time that I'm going to let this be null is when we're not spreading, when we actually have a bunch of arguments that we're trying to compact. It's called argument index. It's not called varargs spread. What's it called? Spread array expression. I need to rename these things. Spread array expression. All right. Hey, I said it might go off, and it did. Okay, so what I want to do is so that'll, if we put spread array expression in there, then it might simplify the other cases. So that's why I want to do it. All right. Wait, where was that? Okay. Type check arguments helper. So that came from here. I don't know, man. So okay. So this is the routine that fills up argument list sorted. Let's go to a real editor. Oh no, it's not. Wait, what? Okay, it's sort call arguments and maybe polymorph that fills it out. Oh no, it's sort arguments. Sort arguments that fills it out. So if it's varargs, we do this stuff. All right. If it's spread, we set the spread array expression. But let's also just put that in there. And we'll only use spread array expression to know that we are spreading. Wow, look at all the uses of this. I just have to look for if anyone is using it. Yeah, that's for struct polymorph, which is going to be different, I think. I'm going to write down to check that. But that's not the problem. I'm worried about procedures most right now. Okay, here. Ay, ay, ay. Maybe that was the only one I needed to do. Let's go back here. Yeah, it's probably fine. I don't know, man. See what happens. Crash. Why? Why? Emit code for procedure call. Argument list sorted for. Argument list sub I is 3. Argument list has 4 items. Oh, but it has no inferred type. Probably. Yeah. So this is, so we have a varargs array register. Wait, we don't use this at all. This is like, nobody uses this given at all. So it's crashing us for no reason. No reason. Simplify. Simplify. Simplify me. Failure variable matching is used without being initialized. 1844. I should implement that. That's a good check. It's a good check. 1844. In what file? Typer? Typer 1844. Matching. Bool matching. That means we didn't hit. Who's this? This is such a big procedure. So if we're in silent check, we won't ever do this. That seems weird. I don't know. I'm suspicious about that whole thing. Procedure call matches multiple possible overloads. 333 and 341. Well, that's because I just set matching to true, probably. What if I say false? Yeah. Oh, that's a funny assert. All right. Anyway. So I don't understand why there's this no silent check here. That doesn't make sense to me at all. I would think that we need this no matter what. But maybe that's incorrect. Let me see what this used to look like, just so I know that that's not a mistake that's newly introduced. Show log. Come on, server. Our server is so slow lately. I don't know what's taking it so long. Load average on the server is 0. It just takes it forever. Skeuomorphism is not the OOP of graphics. I disagree with that so strong. The anti-skeuomorphism trend that happened a couple of years ago is the OOP of graphics. Oh my God, that was the worst thing ever. Okay. Wait, I didn't even want this. I wanted to compare with... working copy. Whoever decided on the anti-skeuomorphism thing, like, didn't... None of those people understand human cognition at all. Oh my God. Yeah, no, all these flat color design languages are horrible. I mean, they're bad. They're bad. They're bad. They're bad. Bad, 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 bad. Yeah, everyone copies Apple, which is great when Apple does the right thing, but Apple often does the wrong thing. The one thing that, thank God, people haven't copied Apple about is the dumb Apple iOS icons that are all the same shape, the rounded rectangle shape, that defeats your silhouette recognition, which, by the way, is why, if you notice with every iOS release, this is my theory, with every iOS release, Apple's, it's trying to remind me to update now, Apple's icons get simpler, right? So now they're so simple to the point that they're completely ugly. Like if you look, I don't know if you could see this, but the App Store icon here is this very abstract A thing that's like 3 tubes. And the reason they're doing that, I believe they're doing that because of user testing, because users keep looking at their iPhone and get confused, and it takes them forever to find the icon they're looking for. That happens to me every time I use my phone, and I've been using iPhones for 10 years. And the reason is because it takes longer for your brain to figure out what you're looking at, because every damn icon is the same shape. So they're throwing away silhouette recognition, which is one of your visual system's primary ways of understanding what something is, right? So they have to bring back something like a silhouette in order to get it to work. And what that means is that the shape inside the icon has to be a very simple shape, or a very maybe monochromatic shape so that it becomes silhouette-like. And so their icons look like garbage now, because they just won't reverse this decision that they made a long time ago, because it looks so nice and neat when all the boxes are the same shape or something. I don't know why they did that, but thankfully Android and desktop operating systems let you have icons with arbitrary alphas, right? Which it's still, people are trending toward this circle thing, which is just as bad as the Apple thing, but at least there are multiple shapes here. We've got squares and circles and stupid infinity signs and this thing, and that helps. That helps a lot. So if people start copying Apple on icons, then I'll quit computers. Skeuomorphism is not about pretending real photo images. Skeuomorphism is about using a concept from the real world as an analogy, right? So, for example, again in iOS, let me find the voice memos app, right? Or no, where's the Game Center? What does Game Center look like these days? Does it? Oh, there we go. It's still stupid. So Game Center used to be like a backgammon thing or something, and so your brain said like, oh, games. What is it now? It's this abstract circles, because they didn't want anything in the real world to represent Game Center. And so the only thing they had to fall back on was like, well, we have some UI that has circles. I don't even know because I don't use Game Center. But like so many icons in iOS are like that now. They're just this abstract thing that means nothing to you because they weren't allowed to be skeuomorphic, right? And it's horrible. It is horrible. What about material design? Is that a good compromise? I don't know. I don't like any of these frou-frou design languages that people do. The Google one is probably a little better than some of the other ones, but I don't remember if that one's the material design or somebody else. But it's not like I like the way Gmail looks or anything. So, you know. Well, no, if you say that I'm misapplying the term skeuomorphism, then I think you're incorrect, because the way the entire software design industry has been using it is consistent with what I just said, which is why all these application icons are horrible, okay? Okay. If you're saying everyone is misusing it, I'm a little more sympathetic to that, but then there's that thing where words mean what people use them to mean. Like if enough people use something a certain way, then it means that now, and there's not very much you can do about it. Like people say I could care less to mean I couldn't care less. And it's just what it means now. There's a bunch of phrases like that. So oh yeah, begs the question. That's one. I was trying to think of that one actually, and I just didn't pop to mind. Yeah. Begs the question now means raises the question, even though that's not at all what it used to mean. because just too many people use it to mean raises the question, right? Begs the question used to mean it's a tautology, so it's an invalid point, right? It relies on its assumption, or you're trying to prove the point by leveraging an assumption of the point, is what begs the question used to mean. And now it just means, well, this leads us to the following question. So I think skeuomorphism kind of now means what the design industry has been using it to mean. And I agree, it's a bad, I mean, it's just taken to such excess that it causes huge problems. Like, I'm sympathetic to the idea that if you want to make something look nice, you shouldn't try too hard to make it look real-worldy, because there's probably a lot of ways to make things look nice that aren't real-worldy. But as always, when people are bad at what they do, they take things too far and cause more problems than they solve. Like, that's the story of the whole tech industry in a nutshell, frankly. Okay, what even was I doing? Enough ranting. I was... Oh, right. I was looking at something around line 13 something, because I wanted to see if that silent check test was like really from the original thing. Where was that? That was line 1731 in the current. Okay. So this was only for varargs. Wait, no. Only for non-varargs. We said if not silent check. So what... Right, if it was foreign... We did that. Which is now down here. So I guess the question is, what was the default value of matching? So this, if not silent check, ended here, and then this asked new site was outside that. I bet that's the difference. Right? Yeah. So this got moved in by a scope, which was a problem. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see what that did. Man, all these rants take time out from my programming. Another crash. Maybe the same crash. Who knows? Who knows? Nope, totally different. Okay, here we have a null expression again. Okay, this is weird because arg register is supposed to not be -1 in this case. Oh, argdefn is null. Okay, this is again a nonsensical check that goes back to the old thing. Okay. Let's just assert on that. I bet that's just not for some reason. Huh, no, that didn't go off. Okay, argdefn is null. Oh, because we set it to null down here. Okay, what were we... Okay. Okay. So, this is a little convoluted for what it's trying to do, honestly. This is if we made a varargs array register. Okay. We don't need this anymore. We say bool big argument equals false if argdefn okay. Just clarifying some things here. So, okay. So arg register will be -1 unless we dropped in a varargs array register, which we will only do if we made a varargs array, which is if it's not a spread. So this all seems right. I'm sure something's wrong, but it seems right. Okay, let's try that. Is foreign. How do I tell if something's foreign? Lambda is foreign. Lambda is foreign. Another crash, probably the same one. Yep, same one. Same one, but at least we cleaned it up a little. What is site line number? Site file name 159 in print. It's a foreign procedure. Which one is it? STB sprintf. STBSP sprintf. Oh. What's it called? Oh, we just link it straight here. Okay. So if it's an any, well, if it's a varargs and it's foreign, then wait, argument list. Argument list is my expressions. Why is it null on that expression? I didn't fill it out correctly for a foreign call. Okay. Well, okay. So we go to stored arguments. We'll say site. I hate this. Site s is equal to that. Okay, we're sorting arguments. Boom, boom, boom. It's varargs. Okay, this is sorted index 0. Go around, index 1. Now this is the one that I think is screwing up, right? Because the varargs index is 2. Is that right? Is varargs is true? Varargs argument index is 2. Okay. Not a name? Not a name. Oh, right, we do this. Yeah, okay. Right. So okay. Because I changed the way that varargs happen and where they get stored, and this part of the code has not been updated for that yet. I drank all my tea again. Would I consider adding support for GPU compute into the engine? Maybe. The thing is, I've never used GPU compute, so I don't really know. Utilize the video card to leverage the power of the card? That's just, yeah, no, that's not really a language feature for the most part. I mean, it could be. I mean, if you were making a language that's not trying to be a general purpose language, that like flows more easily between CPU and GPU, I could see that, but have fun with that, because that's a nightmare. Anyway, so what I was doing with arguments before, part of the point was it was removing complexity from the type checker, uh, and hopefully the total amount of complexity will be less, but it means at least some of the complexity gets moved to later in the pipeline into bytecode. So in this part of the code where I'm crashing, it's because I haven't yet done the thing that I need to do here with the new way varargs are being handled, which is to iterate over that array and do the right thing. All right, this thing is banned. You are banned, bro, forever. How come Twitch is not? How come I can't click on Stay Hydrated bot? Oh, the window's up there. Ban. Ban. News flash. Human beings evolved for hundreds of thousands of years to know when they need to drink water or not, and descended from animals that also had a great deal of evolutionary pressure to know how to drink the right amount of water, okay? So if somebody is trying to tell you you need to drink 372 glasses of water a day, even though you don't feel like you need to drink that, they're probably wrong, right? Who's more correct? The doctors who can't figure out any dietary advice and so pick up the medical fad advice of the week, or 300,000 years of evolution? Like, seriously. Yeah, exactly. It's like the people who say, don't touch your lips because you'll get sick. It's like, okay, that sounds like it makes sense, but think about what evolution means with respect to that. And like, have the people giving that advice ever seen a baby? What does a baby do? It's crawling around and it sticks everything in its mouth. And we evolved in an environment much, much dirtier than the standard environment that babies are in from day to day. So, like, just people don't even think about this for 10 seconds before giving advice. It's really absurd. Yeah, now it is true. Okay, so there is a true thing that, our environment of food and drink these days is not what we grew up with as a species, and so it's not exactly one that we're tuned for. But then you actually, if you're going to say that everybody needs that water, you have to explain exactly why and make that case. And nobody ever does that. They just say like, oh, the human body needs blah, blah, blah amount of water. It's nonsensical. It's really bad. Yeah, I mean, this is the problem, right? Like, individual studies cannot be trusted, especially now because there's so much pressure for people to publish that the incentive is just to publish, right? It's not to be correct. So we kind of need to fix that whole thing, and I don't know when that's going to happen. So, you know, you know, Tuscan Spring nanofiltrated water. Yes, indeed. Man, that noise is still bugging me. What is it? It's just weird enough sonically, and my office is reflective enough that I can't tell where it's coming from. Is it outside? Oh, it's outside. Someone's running something outside. Whatever. Yeah. Yep. So I got to do some things here, and the things are probably different. Okay, we already made varargs array register. That's good. But what do we do for foreign procedures? We don't make varargs array register if it's foreign. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. Okay. If we're foreign, we're going to do one thing. Well, if we're not foreign, we'll do all this. How's that? If we're not foreign, we make this array. Oh yeah. We'll just do this. Okay, if we're foreign, we will do the following. Array int foreign varargs array. You make code for expression arg, and then to avoid a temporary array, we could do this later, but we're doing it here just to centralize the handling of args to make the code less sprawly. Foreign varargs dot add arg register. Okay. So now if we're varargs, if we're foreign, then it has to be then we got to do some stuff. Man, this stuff is annoying, but we probably got to do it up there. Oh my God, this is such a pain in the butt. This is such pain in the butt. Because the amount of stuff down here is non-trivial, so I don't want to paste it again up here. I basically want to call bytecode poke argument for all these things. I don't want to put this into a macro, because that's ugly. Oh, is there someone spamming in the channel? What's going on? Maybe not. I don't see it. Oh, it's a video. Okay. Usually when people are talking about videos in the channel, it's a spam thing. Yeah, I don't know what's happening there. Steam freaked out and it's behaving all weird. It like the normal game library window is like not appearing anymore. So it's Steam. What do you want, man? I kind of don't want to do this. In the new language, this would motivate me to implement the good macro system, but C++ doesn't have good macros. I could just put this in an inline procedure. Okay. Oh, you know, we need to, okay, by the time we're here, this is not true. This is not true. Okay. If I want to better assert here. So if it's a foreign varargs, we're going to handle arguments in one way. And it's going to mean assert num arguments is greater than or equal to lambda argument declarations.items, else it's equal. Now, the difference is going to be, we're not going to do this temporary varargs array register thing. We're going to say quite a long name. Okay, if we're foreign, we're not going to do this. We're going to sigh very loudly. And then we're going to do the following thing. For source argument list, reserve memory in array first, in target array first. For everything, we're going to copy the arguments that we got, and then we're going to slap more arguments on the end. Because if you're calling out to C varargs, then what do you want, man? They can only be at the end, and we're passing them to the FFI interface, and it's just a different thing than if we're handling them ourselves. So foreign varargs substitute argument list dot add it, and then for varargs info.varargs arguments. Okay, well, we can do this if we have more than 0 varargs there. We do this. We're basically concatenating these arrays. So we put them both together into one big array. And we don't do any of this. We don't do that. Okay. So this loop, num arguments, foreign substitute. After we do this, we have to say argument list is, and that. We swap it out for the new one. See what that does. Varargs array register undeclared. Oh yeah, because I didn't do the thing later. What, really? Definition. Okay, well, let's take care of this problem. This was not supposed to go away. We need that one. Yeah. Okay, what? I thought that was it. Contains varargs. Oh wait, type definition. Whatever. Still crash. No surprise. No surprise. Same place. Okay. So we haven't changed the core issue here with all that. But why not? Oh, because... Right. Because when we copied into this temporary array, back here, we copied the null. If I is equal to source argument list.items -1, just so we know we're not smoking crack, we're going to assert it is equal to null, else we add it. What did I goof? 4177. It's an arrow. That's a star. That's an arrow. Now what happens? Whoa! Okay. Well, it crashes when we're running it. But, you know, it compiled. Okay, here's a question. Can we run an empty main? Yes. Can we run a main with just a constant declaration? Yes. Can we run call a procedure that's not varargs and has one argument? Yes. Problem is, I think if I try to call print, well, let's try it. Hey, that worked. That didn't work. So yeah, we broke something. The problem is that print is pretty complicated, so it's not the right place. Let's try concatenate. So print with just one string works. So we could say S is concatenate hi print S. Declaration of S. Okay, that worked. So we passed one argument to a varargs procedure and it worked. What about two arguments? It worked. So it's only the spread that crashed it, maybe? Like we're doing the wrong thing for the spread. Well, let's see if we can... Okay, so that's good. Let's just see if we can do this. I just want a little bit of victory before we dive back into the debugging. So between .count times inputs.count. All right. If between okay, so S is that. T is going to be with a space. I don't know if that'll work. Oh. Dude, so we have an actual working feature, right? We can actually do varargs with an argument afterward. It looks like it's only spreading that's broken. So that's good news. That is good news. Let's add another argument. Okay, so between string at end bytes is an int if between string at end bytes is equal to that, else if between string at end and let's do this first. If it index is equal to inputs count -1 and no between string at end continue. All right. Whatever. There's lots of ways you could do that Boolean logic there. Argument 7 is unnamed, but that is not permitted after names are used. Okay. Let's just make that an incomplete for now. We could fix that. That's just an error checking. That is goofball. Okay. There, look, it didn't put it at the end. Okay, so that's the concatenate that we want, and when we get the rest of this bug out, then we'll be able to replace those messy extra concatenate routines that happen during Superstream Sunday. And that'll be very nice. So, yeah. Yeah, this is what we wanted all along. All along. Okay. So I just got to figure out. Okay, well, so there's actually at least two potential crashes. So we know that basic varargs with native, or I mean native meaning our language, things work. We haven't tested foreign strings, and we haven't tested. Let's test the foreign stuff since I was just doing that. So we had this stb sprintf. So we'll say v is stb sprintf percent d Wait, why is there two strings? Oh, because of the buffer. Buff is 100 U8. Buff.data percent D 333. Percent D, percent D, percent D. We'll test it. 444-555. We don't need a V. And then we say V is to string of buff dot data print V. All right. stb sprintf. It's called stb sp. I don't know why he did that. Why isn't it just stb? Pointer versus non-pointer, right? We're going to fix that later, I think. Ah, okay, so the foreign thing doesn't work. Let's fix that. Doo-doo-doo. Num arguments is 5, which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Okay. What are we using argdefn for? Big argument detection. Okay. So this can be massaged a little bit anyway. So 4269. If Yep, alright. Doodoo arg register. Hey, that worked. See? Let's see if print works. It probably doesn't still. Like print I suspect that's going to crash. Yep. So it probably uses spread, so we have to debug spread. Could I make the varargs polymorphic? Oh, well, yes, you can, but we need to test that. But I want to at least get this working first, before we get fancy. Have I done any videos on a good way to architect large projects like my game engine? I mean, I've had loose discussions about it. I haven't had like a formal thing. I don't believe in architecture in the general sense that way. Like there isn't a general I mean, I don't want to say the wrong thing or say something that's easily misinterpreted. I mean, I definitely have a way that I do it. So there is some kind of way, but it has to pay attention to each specific project. Like if you try to architect one project the way that you would another one, it may be inappropriate and you may fail. So there's a way of being sensitive to what the project needs. And I mean, I learned that through experience. I wish I had learned that in school, but it was never the kind of thing that they taught. And I don't think most people teaching know how to do that, honestly. So, I don't know. I don't know. All right. So, well, let's go back to our spread. That is going to crash, right? No. Really? Maybe it crashes when I print it? Huh. Okay. Interesting. Oh, can I do this? Look at that. How great is that? So, spread at least kind of works. What if we go to the old concatenate? Was it the spread working because we put arguments after? No? All right. Well, so print still dies. We could just debug it, just pop out the debugger. Let's see if we can, let's take it step by step. Can we print integers? No. All right. Let's debug that. Oh, it's running 2015. Well, we'll see what happens. Exception thrown. Print item to builder. Oh, don't show me the disassembly. All right. Print item to builder. Optimized away and not available. God, we need to fix that. So the problem is the args array. I need send an email for a second about this. There's build options. I want to see says optimization level debug. All right, by default. Do we know what is going on here? All right. What is the max vararg length? There isn't one. There is none. All right. So, well, we can't really debug, unfortunately, as much as I would like to. What do we have for locals? All right. Well, fudge. I could always... Okay, well, we can assume that the value in args is null or something like null. Or it's not... It's not getting converted to any properly. That could be happening. Hard to say. Since we know that spreading works, let's try this. Test args is .any. X is test of 1, 2, 3. Not X. We already have an X. H1. Okay, and we'll comment out this because it's crashing us. So I just want to see. Okay, that didn't crash anything. And then how do I print? Because print crashes. Oh, I can stb sprintf. stbsp sprintf buff.data %x %d %x comma h1 dot type h1 dot data pointer. Is that what the members are called? Data pointer is not a member of any. What's it called? Value pointer. Value pointer. Value pointer. Pointer is non-pointer, right? Because I got to do this. We will fix that. 1 and 3. Okay. It didn't convert it to any correctly. Okay. Which means something. But that's fine. We can break in emit code for procedure call at line. Oh. The 3 is the length of the varargs array? Like, is it going to be 4 now? Yeah. That's bad news. I mean, it's not really that bad, but let's just see what's going on. Line 81. Emit code for procedure call. We may have failed to coerce them to any. Call line number is 81. Hate this. Call line number is equal to 81. All right. Oh. This loop, we have a procedure that we could call to do it. So we're just finding which index is the varargs element, and it's the first one, so that's fine. We got our element type. We have 4 varargs arguments, that's correct. It's not foreign, that's correct. We're making an array. Count. Stack allocation. Okay. What is this arg? I want to see that it's an any. or it's a type. It's a cast. It's a cast. It's a literal. It didn't happen. Okay. So here's the thing. Right? So test here is an array of any, and any is this thing, and the compiler is supposed to cast us to that. And so in the varargs case, when we need to cast to any, it's not doing it. It's leaving it as this literal. Like if I cast this to an ask literal, it'll be the number 1. Right? It's a number. The value is 1. So the problem is it didn't insert the cast. And so that's also why print is crashing, because print takes args that are any as well. So we gotta break in the type check. Cite arrow s. Instead of breaking on the line number, let's get more accurate about it. Okay, so of course, because of this confusion about type check arguments versus what was the other thing. Okay, type check arguments helper. We'll go to here. Cite arrow. Cite arrow s is equal to this. Yeah, STB helped us out. It's true. Okay. Wait, what? Is this a different? Which breakpoint is this? No breakpoint. All right. Okay. We contain varargs. We're getting the element type. That's going to be any. See, it says any on the right-hand side there, so that's good. We're just continuing. Okay, that's the problem right there. Oh no, that's not really the problem. We do it down here. Whoa. Oh, because we continue. All right, that's not right. So we did this thing where we continue. That doesn't seem right to me. whole polymorph matching thing is just making it more complicated. Because here, we're expecting to be here in the same case that we're continuing here on, and the reason we're continuing here is so we don't do this stuff. It may be that this just never fired before. So I don't know. So all this type wanted stuff. Right, it's probably that. Can go in there, I assume. See if we can do that. Nope. Oh. Geez, we want that way down there. All right. This is just complicated enough to be confusing to me. It's no surprise. All right. So what exactly, if we're varargs, we may need to match a polymorph variable in the caller, I guess. So we do need to go here. We do need to go here. We can move this up, and we can say we've got a type wanted. Okay. 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 So now we have a type wanted no matter what. And then when we get down here, I mean, type wanted and varargs element type are the same. It's fine. I don't know. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Oh, type given. All right. Well, that's straightforward enough. We have a type wanted and a type given. And little dicey because we're shadowing type given here, but So we just have to handle the fact that this could be null. Where's that? Report no label. Oh, I'm passing the arg site. Wait, what? Where's arg site come from? Argumentless sorted sub I. Oh yeah. Okay, so we're way down there. But here, okay. Here for this error reporting, really? Really? I hate that Windows beep so bad. Okay. Frickin'. It won't tell me what line I'm on, of course. I guess I have to look here. What's the message? In checking argument %D. This used to, Visual Studio used to do this correctly. It used to tell you what line you were on, and now it doesn't because it's written by bad people. So it's this one right here. Why is argsite null? I thought I set it. Oh no, not argument list sorted. No. No, this isn't what I want. Oh, here it's fine. All right, I just want to step through this and see what happens. I is 0, all right. Visual Studio is made by bad people. All right, so we got a type given. Our arg site is going to be null because we have no argument in that slot. Right? Well, locals, arg site null. Okay, that's what we expect. It's just, this is just a thing used to report an error with, so. Okay. We have 5 varargs arguments. Why do we have 5? Hold on. I thought we had 4. We're looking at a different call. Line 51. Oh, 5. Hi there, my main man. Okay, so we broke something that used to work, actually. But that's okay, because it'll work better in the end. Okay, so did my condition not go in? No, it did. All right. So matching is true. Wait, what? Oh, we never set it to true? I think we want that. I don't know. This whole way that I'm doing this is confusing. Type given is being used without being initialized. Wait. No, no. Ignore that. Line 1744. That's a good check. I appreciate that. We're going to have to implement that for sure. Type 1, it is used with that. Okay. Obviously. Cannot cast this to a number. Wanted float 64. That's just us having the incorrect index. How'd we do that? It used to be right. Dag nabbit. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, it didn't make the noise yet. Doo-doo-doo. No, not yet. Doo-doo-doo. Not yet. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, it doesn't on the breakpoint. It's only if I let it assert. All right. Oh, I should have. Wait, I is 0? Oh, it's doing that float 64 thing in here. Why? Why would it do that? Okay, wait. Wait. This is totally wrong. Remember, if it's foreign, we just splat them all into the main thing. If it's foreign, okay. Okay. If it's foreign, we don't need to do this inner loop. We don't need to loop over varargs arguments since they are already appended into argument lists sorted. Bro. So else, we do need to do that if it's not foreign. Except, what the hell is this? Something like that. Oh, I missed a parentheses. I screwed something up still, for sure. Yep, I've got this. Argside is still null. What is my problem with this variable? Oh. No, it should be. It should be. What is going on? Doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo. Torturing you with terrible sound effects. We're not matching. We knew that. I is equal to this. We're not foreign. Oh, I forgot this whole thing. Matching equals true unless we say it's false. Okay, new problem. New problem. Type given is null. Okay. Because we didn't set it up there because we forgot about this. I broke it so bad. We had a running program and I just destroyed it. Oh, I just checked to see if it's null and then I'm dereferencing it right there. Wait. If it's foreign, this should never happen. This should never happen. So we have a further up the pipe problem. Foreign calls should have all their varargs put into argument list sorted. Maybe it was a mistake to do it. No, it's fine. It's fine. This seems too complicated again. I'm just going to make it work, but sometimes you're doing a thing that's supposed to be simpler and you're like, this isn't simpler. This ain't simpler than what I... So I think we're going to do a new design. I'm writing on this piece of paper, simplify varargs again, because it just shouldn't be this complicated. But in the meantime, we're going to fix it. All right. Too complicated. It's too complicated. It's too complicated. Okay, so that assert will go off. Do. Okay, so we're going to see... why. Well, we kind of know why. We could go look first. Oh, sort arguments. Okay. Else, okay, if, oops, what is our lambda called here? Is foreign okay, if, so simplify varargs again, because C version always wants contiguous arguments. Yeah, I thought this would be better, and it ain't. It ain't. It ain't. In fact, I kind of just want to get it back to where it was an hour ago or whatever. And then maybe we'll call the stream for now, and then maybe tomorrow I'll fix it, because doing it the new way. I don't know. I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. All right. varargs result, varargs arguments dot, what was I doing? Oh, if is foreign, we need the arguments all lined up for foreign procedures. The thing that makes it complicated is that, so for that one loop to be not ugly, we want to pack all these procedures together for foreign guys. But if we're, then we're handling foreign guys very differently from non-foreign. Look at what a disaster this is. We had it basically running, and then I changed some things, and now it's awful. Now it's just breaking everywhere. I'm just ready to throw this out the window and start over, honestly. I mean, a lot of the work that I did carries over. So I still have this varargs info struct that I pass everywhere. That's fine. What's in it becomes a little bit different. Yeah, you know what? This is broken enough. It was working almost great, but it's broken enough right now. And I'm unsatisfied enough with how complicated it is that I'm not even going to make this one work. I am going to come back tomorrow and change the design again, I think. And maybe I'll find that that design isn't any better. But sometimes it's just better to do that. Like, my real goal is not to have this working as soon as possible, right? It's to have it working reasonably soon, but with a good result that's easy to build on in the future. And I feel like that may not be happening here. No, although see, I never checked it in when it was mostly working because it wasn't fully working. Maybe I should have made a local thinger. Because I really actually, what I feel like the right thing to do is go back to the design that I had when it was almost working. In which the foreign and the not foreign were treated the same. And then just that last loop there, I did this all because that one last loop, it seemed ugly and I didn't like how it was coming out. But to fix that makes everything else ugly. You've looked at all these things I've had to change to make the code not assert and freak out. And I have to say I don't like it. So I actually don't know which design direction I'm going to take it in, but I'm going to sleep on it and let myself figure it out because so one way to do it is go back to where it was almost working and then just do a little bit more in that bytecode builder loop, which seems like actually the best answer to me. The other way to do it is to go back more like it worked originally, which you guys didn't see that code, but more like it worked originally, and just have different information in the varargs info struct, and that would be fine, except I don't think that's going to be that much simpler than it was originally, or maybe a little bit, but I kind of know what that looked like, and I didn't like it, and I kind of know what this is looking like now, and I don't like it. So the optimum point was earlier tonight. So I'm going to sleep on it, and assuming I don't change my mind, then tomorrow I'm going to go back to where we were earlier tonight. I mean, I didn't check it in, so I just have to remake a bunch of those changes, or reverse a bunch of the changes I just made over the past hour, or half an hour, or 45 minutes, whatever it was. And then just handle it in that final loop. Okay, wait. No, it wasn't the final loop that was wrong. I was thinking of a different thing, because we got foreign stuff working. The part that was wrong was things were not getting coerced to any. Oh, but it's also, right. Things were not getting coerced to any, and in fixing that, we changed a bunch of things. But it's made more complicated by the fact that we made that decision. So even though we made foreign stuff work, we made that decision about how to make it work. That's just making all this other code more complicated. And I don't like it. I don't like it. Especially, like, calling out into foreign language procedures that are varargs is such a tiny use case of the language that to really complicate everything else because of that is bananas. So if that by itself is complicated and it's off in a corner somewhere being complicated, that's fine. But if it pollutes everything else, that's not so fine. So that's what I think about all this. Any final questions before I sign off and come back tomorrow brand new and awake and so forth? No, I'm glad you liked that prototypes talk. Right on. Yeah, thanks everybody. I wish it had been a more action-packed stream and that we had gotten all the way to the new design. You saw it get almost all the way there, those of you who watched the stream mostly through. We have it almost working. If I just rewind back to that point, the only thing that wasn't working was casting to any. And that just turned into a big disaster trying to fix that. So we will undisaster that and it'll be good. Watching the launch tomorrow, of course. I hope. See you guys later.